An absolute bizarre scene here in West Fresno at the corner of McKinley and Marks. A man claiming he's Jesus plows his car into a PG&E worker, pinning him against his truck because the worker was black. The man's passenger, who had a hatchet, and innocent bystanders come to the rescue.
So I fucking ran up behind him with a hatchet, smash, smash, suh-MASH. Yeah, I'm Kai.
Kai, can I get spelling for you, buddy?
Straight out of Dogtown, K-A-I.
K-A-I, do you have a last name?
No, bro, I don't have anything.
In early 2013, a homeless hitchhiker wielding a hatchet became popular. He told the world how he stopped a violent man with 3 swings of his blade, punctuating his story with a wild cry. The internet ate it up. In the span of days, Kai went from complete obscurity to viral hero, hailed as a fearless drifter who stood up for the innocent.
Now, the stuff right here, I was driving. Smash, smash, smash.
But underneath the charm was something unsteady. And just 3 months later, that same hatchet-wielding hero was in handcuffs, arrested for murder. But how did this all happen?
May just stop and think, could he be responsible for something like this?
Welcome to the Grim Crim Vault. This is the story of Caleb McGilvery, the man the world knew as Kai. And the question that still haunts everyone who watched him rise, was he ever a hero at all?
How'd you get in his car? How did you...
I was hitchhiking. Well, good thing I was hitchhiking. Yeah, people say don't hitchhike. Well, this is what happens. Was, yeah, well, at least I was here.
It started like any other day on the road. Kai was hitchhiking through Fresno, California, just another drifting soul with no ID, no ties, and a hatchet in his backpack. He called himself home free, not homeless. He believed in the universe, energy, and the kindness of strangers. And on that morning in February 2013, one of those strangers pulled over. The man behind the wheel introduced himself as Jesus. His real name was Jet Simmons McBride. The ride turned dark fast. McBride veered off the road and slammed into a utility worker, pinning him with the car. When a woman rushed over to help, McBride jumped out and tried to strangle her. That's when Kai stepped in. He pulled the hatchet from his bag and charged. 3 swings to the man's skull. The attacker collapsed. The woman survived. The story could have ended there, but then came the camera. Just hours later, Kai gave a now infamous interview to a local news crew. Wild-haired, smiling like he just won a fight with the devil, he recounted the blows with sound effects and surfer slang.
Smash, smash, suh-MASH. Yeah.
It spread like wildfire. That 90-second clip turned Kai into an overnight legend. People didn't just watch, they shared, memed, worshipped. He was the hatchet hero, the wandering warrior who stopped evil with raw force and a smile.
The lady said you saved her life.
She was the one who got grabbed by that fucker. You know what? Fuck is cool. That guy ain't. Shit.
Jimmy Kimmel called. Hollywood took interest. And for a moment, Kai was America's favorite mystery.
Ladies and gentlemen, please say hi to Kai. Kai, jump in the car. Well.
But the problem with legends is that they often fall apart when you look too close. Kai wasn't just some quirky traveler. His past was fogged with trauma and contradiction. He claimed he was abused as a child, locked in basements, passed through foster care.
Oh, bro. Okay, you want me to start from when I was a kid? I was locked in a cage for fucking 4 years and treated like an animal. They installed a lock on the door that went from the outside in so they could sit and watch TV and fucking shit.
Whether all of it was true didn't even matter. What mattered was that he carried the weight of it. He didn't have a driver's license or a credit card. He didn't believe in IDs. He bounced between states, slept in parks, rode in strangers' cars. He called himself a nomad and talked about chakras and spirit quests, but he also spoke in paranoid riddles. Sometimes about being watched, sometimes about people trying to poison him. Online, his posts grew darker. Long rants, shadowy videos, talk of hidden enemies. But his fans didn't notice. They only saw the guy who saved a woman with a hatchet. They didn't see the unraveling. They didn't see what was coming next. By May 2013, Kai was still riding the last waves of his internet fame. But the buzz was dying and the invites stopped coming. He'd returned to what he knew, drifting, sleeping on benches, hopping trains, crashing with strangers. That's how he met 73-year-old Joseph Galfy. Galfy was a well-known attorney from Clark, New Jersey. The two met in Times Square, and Kai claimed Galfy offered him a place to stay for the night. According to Kai, the man was kind, too kind. He alleged that Galfy drugged and sexually assaulted him in his sleep. He said he woke up dazed, confused, in someone else's clothes, sore and violated. But there were no witnesses, no cameras, no proof.
I just turned 17 on the road. There's this guy, and he held me down, and then he like hit me a couple times, and he started choking me. He turned me over and pulled my pants down and started raping me.
2 days later, Galfy was found dead in his home, beaten savagely. His face was shattered. His body lay sprawled on the floor in his bedroom, still dressed in his socks and underwear. No sign of forced entry, just the body, and the story Kai would soon tell. By then, Kai was already gone. He fled New Jersey, hitchhiked his way south, and posted cryptic messages on Facebook. "What would you do if you woke up with someone's semen inside you?" he wrote. He hinted at revenge, spoke in riddles, then vanished. For 4 days, a nationwide manhunt unfolded. The same media that once called him a hero now splashed his face across headlines labeled murder suspect. It ended in Philadelphia at a Greyhound terminal, where police tackled him and hauled him in. Kai didn't deny killing Galfy, but he claimed it was self-defense, an act of justice against a predator. He said Galfy had taken advantage of him. He called it righteous fury, but the evidence didn't match. The timeline was murky, the injuries too extensive. Prosecutors said this wasn't rage, it was overkill. A premeditated, brutal assault carried out long after the supposed threat had ended.
I have an attorney that's been trying to contact me, and they haven't given me the right to a phone call ever since I've been brought into the Philadelphia prison system.
In court, Kai lashed out, interrupted the judge, fired his own lawyers. He called the trial a farce and the system corrupt. But behind the chaos was a man slowly watching the legend he'd built burn down around him. By mid-May 2013, the legend of the hatchet-wielding hero had collapsed. Kai had vanished, but he wasn't invisible. A barista at a downtown Philadelphia Starbucks recognized him from news feeds and posters. She called the police after he ordered coffee. He fled the scene, but he couldn't outrun what came next. Minutes later, officers intercepted him at the nearby Greyhound bus terminal. They'd been issued an arrest warrant for the murder of 73-year-old Joseph Galfy, a well-respected New Jersey attorney whose brutal death shook a small town. They described Kai as calm, almost resigned, no scuffles or dramatic arrest. All that bravado from Fresno, it vanished from view. He was held on $3 million bail and transferred to New Jersey to face charges of first-degree murder and burglary. Kai remained eerily defiant in court. He never said much, preferring to glare or shout accusations. That the system was rigged, that he was a target of prejudice. At times, his composure collapsed. Media reports show him shouting, pacing, swinging at invisible demons as if he believed he was under siege.
In my case, the court refused to give the adverse inference instruction even after the prosecutor destroyed all evidence of rape drugs and sexual assault.
Yet the evidence was starkly chilling. A murder weapon found at the scene, witnesses, and surveillance video. In April 2019, after a trial that laid bare every violent detail, a jury found him guilty of first-degree murder. 2 months later, he was sentenced to 57 years in prison. In January 2023, Netflix released The Hatchet-Wielding Hitchhiker, a documentary retelling Kai's rise and fall. Audiences flocked to the sensational story, but Kai wasn't pleased. From prison, he accused the filmmakers of exploiting his trauma for profit, calling their methods ruthlessly exploitative. He claimed he had been paid nothing for the film, despite giving interviews and sharing personal history. Criticism followed. Fans and critics voiced unease on Reddit, accusing the documentary of glamorizing mental illness and trauma rather than exploring the full truth. To many viewers, Kai remains an enigma, folk hero or fragile man unhinged. To some, a symbol of rebellion and vigilantism. To others, he's simply a violent man, broken by fame and trauma. Kai is now behind bars in New Jersey State Prison. If you found this story interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Grim Crim Vault so you don't miss our weekly episodes.